So I'm going to ask you a couple questions. The overview of I got them organized: workload, then I got politics, then I got types of work, then I got psychology of policing, and then I got some takeaways.
Right on.
So if you don't have an answer and you want to pass, just say pass. How
All
many
right.
hours do you typically work in a week?
Right now it's crazy because my full-time guy is going through canine training. So for the past about month or so, in a 2-week period, I'm usually working 160 to 170 hours,
So you're talking about 85 hours a week?
roughly.
Is there ever a time when you're fully off duty?
No. Even if I have somebody working, I'm the chief. So if something major happens, I gotta go to it. So if I could legitimately have like somebody working Saturday day shift to night shift, and I'm off on Saturday. But if there's a murder, they're gonna expect the chief to show up. Or
How many active cases do you have at any time?
varies. Some days you can get several, and some days you can have none. So it just depends on the day. It's a small town, so we don't have a lot happening, but sometimes it just seems like you may have 3 things, 4 things, 5 things all happen in a day.
During an investigation, who do you work with on a daily basis?
Typically myself. I could, have joint things with, Glasgow borders with Sheridan County, so we could get involved with Sheridan County or Howard County or across the bridge in Saline County. We help out Fayette PD when necessary. We will help out anybody when necessary, but typically ones I deal with the most would be Highway Patrol, Howard County, Sheridan.
Do you feel like you have the support you need?
No, not at all. The police department's a weird thing, and then with the current climate, it's already under a lot of scrutiny. But police department for the city doesn't generate revenue; it's an expense. So whenever you need stuff, it's like, well, why are we doing this? Water. People get a water bill, electric, stuff like that. All those city services and stuff generate revenue for the city. We don't generate any revenue. We're an expense. So they always just seem like it's a waste of money. And then it's a small town, 1,100 people, 1,200 people. There's the idea that it's just a small town, nothing ever happens here, but things happen. And if there's no police, then more things will happen. But you got a lot of old people that, nothing ever happens in Glasgow. And so why do we need the police? Until you need them. In my short time of 3 months being chief, I've done things that chiefs in years past have not done. I got a private donor to donate money. We're getting a canine. So now we have a drug sniffing dog, which is a thing that Howard County, the whole entire county, hasn't had in who knows when. We always kind of have to work within a budget, and the budget is limited. We may have to make a decision between, well, do my guys need new vests or do we need new tasers? Well, vests will save your life, so you may have to go without tasers. So that takes away an option to use instead of deadly force.
Right on. All right, moving on to politics. I'm going to start in the micro, close to you, and then work out. Do politics at your local level affect your job?
Yes, and it shouldn't. The one place I believe politics shouldn't be involved is in law enforcement. It shouldn't matter who you are or what you are. If you commit a crime, then that crime should be punished the same. But if there's a well-to-do person, probably can afford a better lawyer, probably the same punishment doesn't happen as it would a poor kid, which is the justice system side of it. And my line of work, maybe, but not really. I'm not the sheriff. The sheriff's an elected position, so there's politics definitely involved in that. I'm the chief of police, so if I were to arrest somebody and they would fire me because I arrested so-and-so's kid, that is a lawsuit that they have to pay out. So I'm protected from it.
Do politics affect your job at the state level?
Yes and no, not directly. Like whoever the governor, or if we got a Republican controlled house or a Democrat controlled house or Senate or whatever, vice versa. Yes and no. They don't directly affect me, like telling me what to do and what not to do and whatever. But the laws they pass or the stuff that they put through Congress or in the state level, I have to enforce or unenforced. So I always have to be kept abreast of what's going on. Things change all the time.
Do politics at a federal level affect your job?
Not as much as state, but if they were to pass something, for example, probably coming down the line, I would say 2 years, weed probably legalized.
Does the recent political upheaval with the stuff that's went on over the last couple of years, does that affect your job and how you do your job? Does it affect how you do your job?
Easily, yes. Some things I think are good and some things I think are bad. I think that people having cameras and them encouraging cops to wear body cameras and do all that other stuff, I think that only makes for better police. If you know that somebody's watching you, you're more tempted to do what's right than what's not, i.e. George Floyd situation. That guy was on camera not doing what's right, but the video helped. But I also think it makes it harder for cops who are out here trying to do the right thing. I would never allow somebody who has an agenda to fuck over any race, sexuality, minority, whatever you want to call, to work for me or under me.
Has the turnover rate for cops been affected by recent politics?
Oh, 100%, 110%. It's already, before all this stuff ever kicked on, it was a high turnover rate job because it's just not an easy job. Nobody ever calls the cops and says, hey, we just want to call you and have you come over here and just let you know we appreciate the job you do. Cops only see people when it's bad, when they've made a mistake, committing a crime, or even medical calls. In a small town like this, we tend to roll the medical calls. So you're having some diabetic seizure or heart attack, whatever it may be, and you're in a bad spot. That's the time that cops get called to bad things. So it's always bad. It's negative, negative, negative. And when you constantly see that, some people get a jaded view of things and just always see things as bad. And some people quit because maybe they join for an action pack like they see in the movies, and then they realize that, I work a lot of traffic accidents. The action pack stuff that maybe people join for is minimal.
What does defund the police mean to you?
It means a horrible idea. I think the opposite needs to be done. More money for training, more money for salaries. I pay my cops here in this small town $16 an hour and ask you to risk your life potentially for $16 an hour. It's not a lot of money. So you pay more money, you make it more lucrative job to attract better applicants. You have a better selection process, not just, we'll just take what we can get because we got to fill a body. I think if you defund the police and there's no police and it's lawlessness, there's no one to hold anybody accountable.
Are the majority of your crimes felonies, misdemeanors, or infractions?
Misdemeanors.
What types of crimes do you see? Do you see property crimes, personal crimes, public order offenses, or moral offenses?
Property and personal. And by personal, I mean like domestic disturbances and arguments and stuff like that with couples is typically in property crimes.
What do you have to do to make an arrest? Like, what's the process?
You have to have somebody commit a crime. So they have to break a law. There's a detention and then there's an arrest. If I pull you over to search your car, I can detain you, put you in cuffs, and you're not under arrest. You're just being detained. You're not allowed to go nowhere. I don't want you to run off. I don't want you to get hurt. I don't want you to come attack me while I'm searching your car because I smell the odor of marijuana coming out of it, for example. And then you search the car, you find marijuana. Maybe you just let them go on a ticket and then uncuff them, issue them a ticket. Boom. An arrest would be a crime has been committed and that person is guilty of it. So if I walk into a bar and you're just waylaying on people, throwing right hooks, left hook, that is assault, I can arrest you. I'll take statements from all the people. Yeah. And then pictures like, boom, he's got a black eye or cut under his eye, and all different kinds of stuff. And then I'll go in a case and I'll send a case file up to a prosecutor saying I arrested Dan Parks at the fish beak and witness him to hit 3 different people. I got 3 different people witness statements and also photographs to go along with it.
What's your ratio between violent crimes and what we call, I guess, infractions or misdemeanors? So violent versus non-violent.
In this town, as small as it is, I'd say we're about 93-7 infractions to violent.
All right. This is a question a lot of people would like to know, like just for like traffic violations. Is there a quota? You mentioned earlier that you guys aren't a revenue generating stream for a city or
nope.
Traffic.
No quota. It is illegal to do a quota in the state of Missouri. You can't do a quota, so it is illegal to do that. And no, we don't do it. I typically have a rule of thumb: we stop for 10 over. You can stop for less, I said, but usually I don't ticket until 10 over. That's what I suggest that's what I tell my guys that I do. And if you want to follow that lead, by all means. Usually my general, how I deal with people is you write yourself a ticket. You could be going 13 over and I pull you over, and if it's your first time I ever pulled you over and you're nice, probably not gonna give you a ticket. If it's my 3rd time pulling you over for doing the same thing, 2nd time, probably gonna get a ticket because I've done gave you your free pass. It could be my 1st time pulling you over and you could be doing 10 over. And if you're just a complete jackwagon, oh well, I pay taxes and I pay your salary because I pay taxes, and I don't know why you're doing this. You could be out here doing da 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 da, and F you and F off and da da da. You are writing yourself that ticket. Be kind, and most likely the cops will be kind back.
So as the chief, you probably have meetings like you're talking about going to next. Do you have meetings with your team and say, hey, this month, let's focus on this?
All the time. Traffic is one thing. So going down by St. Mary's on 3rd Street, there's a lot of cars that fly down by there, and you got kids out there running around playing. Let's be present there. Let's sit and run radar there. Let's be seen there. Why? To deter it. Oh man, the cops are sitting here, they're writing tickets or running radar, they're doing this. Yeah, we'll slow down, because I would much rather have people assume we're just jackasses writing tickets than ever deal with a traffic accident where a dude was speeding over a hill and ran over a kid. I'll be the bad guy then.
What experience do you have inside the courtroom?
A ton. A lot of times, a lot of cases get pled down, but sometimes you still got to go to court. You got to testify to the facts that you know, and that's what you write down in your report, what you see, what you know. You don't lie on the stand, you tell the truth, and if you do lie, that can kill your career as a cop. You'd much rather just tell the truth, and if the guy gets off because he's got a good lawyer, then you'll get him again if he's a dirtbag.
Is profiling or stereotyping beneficial when you patrol?
Yes, but not racially. Not just stopping them because they're black and let's stop them because they're black. Because they're black, they got to have drugs. No, that's horseshit, and that doesn't work, and that's fucking stupid. No, just profiling as far as, well, I've worked in small towns, so you know who the people are. Repeat offenders will say, well, I know he's dealing drugs, and these people are associated with him. Then that usually leads to good stops. I'm not saying that they all do drugs, but it is easier to, if you know what's going on, know where the drugs are moving and everything else, it's easier to make stops and do stuff and get good arrests for meth and heroin and cocaine and stuff like that.
Right on. All right, next one. Do certain police calls cause more anxiety than others?
Yes. If you're going to a hot call, then of course. So if you got a barking dog call or a stolen license plate or a burglary no longer in progress, somebody came back from their weekend and found out their house was broken into, does not create the same anxiety as shots fired or bank robbery, anything like that.
What would you like people to know about the police?
The police are a good thing. The police can always be better, but by all means, if you need help, don't ever be afraid to trust a cop. And if you see wrong, report wrong. Don't think bad cops need to be called to the carpet too, so they can get out of the police force and let the good cops do what they need to do. But the police are a good thing. They'll protect you, and they're here to serve.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, I had to go. Sorry, it was quick.
Good, man. Love you, man. See you.
Love you, buddy. See you.
Bye.